Hello everyone, welcome to #Johnio, the podcast that you met in the parking lot and it followed you all the way home. My name's Johnny.
And I am Ennio. And this is our first episode.
Yes, our first episode of our podcast.
Of the podcast that we have made.
Together.
As a couple.
Husband and husband.
As the Bible intended. We are going to start doing these each week because we've always wanted to do something creative, but I think something like YouTube or other things like that are a little bit too require a lot of commitment.
Yeah, you gotta be like, is this angle making me look good? How's the lighting? Will everyone think that I'm a wannabe? And it just feels more natural to just be talking in front of a microphone.
Yeah, I think that our best is when we're not worried about how we look. Basically, when we're in bed after eating large amounts of snacks and, bellies out. You can't do it in a video because people are like, they're always waiting for like, hi guys, how are you doing? And those people are like as thin as a fucking broomstick.
Yeah, and there's always that cliche of how the camera adds a few pounds onto you.
Yeah, which I think it's the angle actually. I don't think it's the camera. I think it's because when you take a picture, you're obviously going to take the best angle possible. Or even photographers take 100 pictures and they'll pick one. Whereas in a video nowadays with technology, you'll get 60 shots in 1 second. No, yeah, exactly. So, it's difficult. Anyway.
Shall we talk about the theme of this week's episode?
We should.
Okay, well, this week's theme is traditions. And you might be thinking, like, what are traditions? Like, we all know we have them. But what are they for? And what are they exactly?
Who do they affect? Who engages in this horrible activities that God hates?
Well, a cursory internet search in my research was that, according to Thomas Green's Encyclopedia of Folklore, that a tradition is a belief or behaviour passed down within a group or society with symbolic meaning or special significance with origins in the past.
So basically, it's a history ghost.
Yeah, history ghost.
I'm gonna call it that. It's like we respect history ghosts in this household.
Like the memories of the people might have faded, but the things they did have not.
Yeah, like killing stuff.
That time-honored tradition that we do. I mean, to be fair, we genocide turkeys every single Christmas.
It's true. The turkey genocide is a thing, and I don't know why that's a thing. Well, I mean, I know why that's a thing because of the whole like American Thanksgiving. But turkey's so boring as a meat.
I don't think it's especially boring. It's just hard to get right. Because there's usually the case of the breast is overcooked by the time you cook the thighs.
And, I personally, I don't even like chicken breast. I don't even like girl breast. So, there is a pattern there.
A true homosexual.
No, I'm lying. I love breasts. Even girl breasts. Not in a sexual way, though. It's just they're bouncy and jiggly. They just remind you of childhood. It's just good. Even though I was breastfed for, like, a hot minute.
So you platonically love them?
I platonically love breast, but I digress. Let's talk about chicken breast and then turkey breast. I don't like chicken breast because it's just so tasteless. So in my opinion, like turkey is just an overfed chicken.
I mean, I suppose. They're birds and what can I say about that? It's just they are different species of birds.
I know, but it's important because if you think about it, this is still in theme with the episode. It's a huge tradition even in South America where I'm from, by the way. Like we don't do Thanksgiving, but turkey is a huge part of like Christmas meals.
Yeah, and have you ever wondered why that is? Like, why do you do turkey?
It's probably that. It's probably the whole, like, we want to be like Americans. Mm-hmm. The whole post-colonial, even though, obviously, the post-colonial attitude comes from, like, the British and Spanish Empire. But, just trying to emulate the top of the line, which is always... It's always the US, Canada, Europe, the UK. Like everyone just tries to emulate the Anglosphere, basically. And I don't know why we do turkey specifically. Like when did it start, or like who made it happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to think of it now as, how do you level up a chicken? It leveled up into a turkey.
Yeah, the chicken is like yeah, the ultimate form. No, wait, no. The ultimate form is a turkey. The final boss form, the true final form, is an ostrich.
The final boss.
The final, the one that you unlock after, I don't know, sexing all the characters possible.
Oh dear.
Yeah, this is gonna be a weird episode. I say that like we have made like so many before.
Well, start as you mean to go on.
True. So yeah, we have obviously the most relevant tradition at the moment is Christmas, which is a couple of days in the future.
It being the 23rd of December at the time of we record this podcast.
Yes, today's the 23rd, so you're going to listen to our lovely voices on the 25th. Although that's when, like, is that just in the US? Because in South America we do Christmas on the 24th.
Yeah, I know. I've heard this, but almost everyone that I know in the Anglosphere.
So it's an Anglosphere thing.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I feel a bit too insular to know exactly.
Yeah, I don't
the
really...
Christmas traditions of every other country.
And you know, okay, this is also perfect for this episode because I don't feel like traditions are stuck to dates anymore. Like Halloween is the whole October.
Yeah, and it's like, as an adult, if Halloween doesn't fall on a Friday or a Saturday, it's kind of awkward because you want to go out clubbing and just like dress as a zombie because
slutty zombie.
Slut zombie.
Yeah, slut zombie.
Disclaimer: not shaming zombies for their sluttiness.
Yeah, no, because we all know that they have a higher libido than the living.
But going as a zombie in general feels a bit like the lazy choice this time. Like, you didn't actually prepare for Halloween.
It's true, what we did.
Yeah.
By the way.
Stop trying to expose us.
Oh my god. Yeah, no. Going back to the original point of this thing about... Yeah, I remember. Sorry, I was literally just bluffing until I could remember. Yeah, like, it's not about the date anymore. It's not about the 24th or the 25th. Like, the whole December is Christmas. Hell, half of November is Christmas.
Yeah, the songs and the decorations are out for a good 50 days of the year.
Yeah, I would say that the earliest that you see Christmas decorations on is the 2nd or 3rd of November, because they still, like, there's 2 days after Halloween where they're like, do you want to buy this crap for like a 10th of the price?
Yeah, we are reducing all this Halloween stuff that you definitely want.
Why wait?
Yeah. Do you know, sorry, I was gonna say Christmas though is more than just about like what it actually is supposed to represent. It's like, yes, we very much have the story of Jesus being born in a manger, and doing all that jazz.
Do you love the irony of just how the world is very much against immigrants at the moment, and Jesus technically was kind of like an immigrant?
I suppose he was born in a I mean, his mother was from a different town, but then they went to Bethlehem.
Yeah, but no one wanted them though. Like she had to give birth in a barn.
Yeah, it's kind of like going somewhere for Christmas and you didn't book an Airbnb.
How did she not die from sepsis?
Well, she must have had divine protection.
Oh, right. She casted divine shield on herself. For those Hearthstone players out there.
Sorry, I finally remember what I was going to say about it.
Sorry.
Basically, like, Christmas is more than just about the story of Christmas. It's about the traditions we assign to it, like how we should be together with family.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of food.
Yes.
Often a lot of drinking.
A lot, yeah.
And in some ways, you could think of those as coping mechanisms for...
for dealing with your family.
For dealing with your family. Because you'll tolerate them more if you're a little bit sozzled and they're all too tired from overeating to be that bothersome.
True. I particularly... I've started to like Christmas again. Because as... as a child, it was just a huge Stepford wife extravaganza where everyone is comparing children and who got the biggest gift. And it was weird for me because when I was, let's say, preteen, that's when like Game Boys and handheld consoles were getting smaller and smaller. So your gifts wouldn't be big in size. So people would be like, "Oh my god, you just get that tiny thing," and I'm like, "Excuse me, this has Pokemon Ruby in it."
Yeah, drops the microphone.
drops the cartridge. Yeah, so I didn't like Christmas because of that. I didn't like the whole family thing because I think the extended family that I had to spend Christmas with was shit.
Sorry about it.
And like I feel like that's a common thing. Because if you I'm not sure, because in South America it's very much like you spend Christmas with your family, but here you have what is it, Christmas here being the UK, by the way. We haven't explained that we are living currently in the United Kingdom.
Yes, in the forever sunny city of Wales.
Yeah, in the forever
Cardiff, Wales.
Cardiff, Wales, the city of Wales. Well, it might as well be a city. No one's gonna know where this is. Yeah, here you do 25th and 26th with the family. So Christmas Day and
the 26th being Boxing
Day.
Do you know, I don't actually know why it's called that.
I don't know either. You're the British one.
But essentially the tradition we have for that day is to not quite have left the family home at that point and just eating leftover turkey and cheese. Yes.
But yeah, like after that, you're with friends, though. That's what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's an evolution of tradition because it used to be think about it. Winter was a time where you huddled up as a family because otherwise you would freeze. It's like, we have to have your Aunt Becky here because she has no husband, so she's gonna freeze. Because, I'm talking about, I don't know.
Won't somebody please think of poor Rebecca?
Yes. So I think that's, you can see the evolution there, that where people have started to be like, well, it's not just family. It's also, not just biological family, but also your chosen family. Like, I think that's RuPaul who calls it that. Like, you find your tribe, find your chosen family.
Yeah, but there's still kind of the concept of coming together.
Yes, union.
Yes, unionism.
Let's strike. Let's start a strike. What else should we talk about in terms of tradition?
Do you know, I was actually going to say that it's funny that you seem to tolerate Christmas more these days, because for me personally, I've never felt so Scrooge-ish as I have this year. I don't want to hear another Christmas carol. I just want to be at home and drink my wine and enjoy the peace.
To be fair, though, we have had a very stressful year. Even though we married this year, guys, like, we've been married, like, I don't know, I think it's something like 5 million years in gay time.
Yeah, but...
Can you do the math? How much is in, like, normal people time?
It is approximately 5-6 months. I'm struggling with the math myself, but it's
5. I just did it. It's 5.
In July.
July, yes. So, yeah, well, it wasn't just that, but... with it came all of the legal things because, guys, we're not just like homosexuals, we're also intercultural and interracial, and that is just such a horrible mess of legal things.
I believe the apt word here is clusterfuck.
It's a clusterfuck. So I think because we literally just the one of the last things that we had to do for this whole marriage mess, I did a couple of weeks ago. So it's the first time in forever that we literally don't have to worry about shit. So, yeah, we've had to deal with like offices and people and submissions and crap like that. That being home alone eating snacks is the best thing.
Yeah, it makes me feel like maybe I'll set up our own Christmas tradition of how home will be a fortress and we'll just spend it together and nobody else can butt in.
Oh, that's great. I love it. I absolutely love it. Like, obviously, that's going to have to change when I get pregnant and our family expands a bit. Because, you can't deprive children of the illusion. He's going to sneeze. He's going to sneeze.
Oh, it's tickling me.
Do it. Do it.
Oh no, I caught it on the cusp.
Oh,
And now
it's fantastic. I love this.
Sorry.
Your suffering is always going to be happiness for me.
Okay,
That's
well,
what marriage is about. Oh, it's there. I love it.
Okay. Well,
Writhe for me, my angel of sneezing.
are we getting a little bit off topic?
We are, but it's because you were like in pain, and I actually love that.
Yes.
Anyhow, we were saying how like when we have children, you know, you're not going to deprive them of like the whole Christmas illusion. What I think is going to be a problem, not necessarily within our family, but with the wider world, is how I'm never going to lie to them. Like Santa's not real. Period.
Well, you got to think of why do people lie to your children about with the story of Santa?
I don't know, but if I pay good money for those presents, they better know who gave them to, you know, them.
Is it because that children, are more inclined to believe you, and therefore it feels good to give them that sense of wonder?
Maybe. I know this is a cliche because not a cliche in this podcast, but it's a cliche in our life because I mention it constantly all the time. But every time that one of those things, come into conversation, like we're talking about children and the need to protect their innocence or whatever, I always remember that quote that I got in uni. I don't remember I know the lecturer who gave that lecture, but not the actual source of the thing. But it said it's something that children are not innocent, they're just inexperienced.
Yeah.
And that it's true. And I feel like one of the biggest problems that we have as a society growing up is, and this is going to tie back with traditions, is how traditionally there is all of these coping mechanisms that you do with children. Like you lie to them about everything is magical and it's magical because you lie to them. And I feel like it's made magical through the lie, but I don't think that's the only way that you can make it magical for children and keep the flame of imagination alive. I just think that you shouldn't, I don't know, because then you grow up and the world is so much more dark.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when you have to tweak it. That being said, I was always a horrible child.
So you're saying that as a child we are given this kind of filtered version of reality, and then suddenly it's like, oh yeah, this is the real world.
Yeah, this is why we're doing a podcast together, because Johnny will filter my ramblings into cohesive thought.
I'm sorry, I just love summarizing things.
No, that's fine. That's completely fine. I talk too much.
Yeah, but we have those traditions that as a culture we express.
We do.
Like Tooth Fairy, Christmas, Thanksgiving, etc., etc. But then traditions are also on a more personal level as well. Like friends who have in-jokes that you can say that's a tradition.
True.
And
or something specific you do with a specific friend.
Yeah.
And a specific time of the year.
Yeah, like the almost like a ritual that kind of you see as a way of cementing your friendship together, or just something that you enjoy together, and because you enjoy that enjoyment, you are doing something to kind of fulfill those conditions, kind of like in a Pavlovian way, the dog with the bell and the food.
Right. Yeah, it's not just about, something in the calendar. It's not just about Christmas or Thanksgiving or, all of those things. It's about what we said before. It's like union. It's about sharing with people and making it special. And it goes back to what I was saying about how the world becomes dark. So, well, not it becomes always dark, but you were shielded from it, and then you have to cope with it, and that's how you start those traditions. Which is why before I think they always expected family to be this be all and end all of safety, and we've come to realize as a society, as a group, I don't know, that we'll sometimes be very, very different, and you'll need to find people that are as different as you. Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah. Like you're looking for your kind of your niche in the world.
Yeah, your tribe. Like being quite direct, as gay people, we are just not going to feel super comfortable in a... Well, okay. Not every single gay man. I'm talking about myself personally. But family traditions, which include Christmas, tend to be difficult for me, or well, at least in that sense, Because it's very heteronormative. It's very mommy and daddy and the children and grandma and grandpa.
Yeah, like cookie cutter nuclear families.
Yes, exactly. And you know, and dad will cut the meat and mom will bake the cake. And it's so gendered and it's creepy. Like, I remember in our family particularly, my sister hated dresses. She's the most femme cisgender girl ever right now. But when she was a child, she would hate dresses. She would absolutely hate them. And I'm not going to say child. I'm going to say toddler. Because, you know, I think that's the stage where you're still like, what the fuck is gender? Like, why do I have to wear this?
Yeah, I've had a story quoted for me as a toddler where I was just in love with my yellow rain mac and wearing nothing else.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
You probably look angelical.
I was born to perform.
You were. That's why you love microphone. That and because it's phallic.
Yes, very long and sturdy. And
Thick. Ours is thick.
yes, got a hefty base.
Yeah, you always. It's nice when you just hold it. I love how we were just talking about children. Now we're talking about
It
dicks.
has a sort of gravitas.
Oh yes, baby, gravitas. So in terms of our own family, as in you and me and the future generation of homosexual bred children, that came out disgusting. Anyway,
Please.
what sort of traditions do you think we should have or start?
Well, I think that's difficult to say because it's usually things that work for you, and you kind of only really discover what traditions are worthwhile when you actually do them.
Okay, but coming from the angle of we're the parents and we decide whatever we do, right? What would you like? Okay, I'm gonna go then to give you an example. Like for example, I don't want the stupid like, oh my god, come to dinner. Like I spent so much like time like cooking. No, I'm just gonna be like, where are we going this year? Like I'm not gonna be. There's not gonna be a rule for the. I'm talking about the food in particular. Like if people are feeling like, do you want a proper meal this Christmas? Then okay, let's all pitch in. Let's all do it. And make it an experience where we all engage in it and then we all reap the benefits. But if for some reason people are like, you know what, let's just go to Disney and eat hot dogs, then that's fine.
I'm actually kind of glad you said that because it just seems that even though there are good side traditions in that they bring us together, promote unity, they can also be unnecessary stress.
Yeah.
For instance, like making a turkey dinner with all the vegetables and trimmings is such a production, and it's just like, why do we need all that excess? Like we could still have a perfectly nice special meal without 20 different vegetables.
Exactly.
A gigantic turkey meant to feed 12. And, you know, maybe you do have like that many people at your table, but you also might not. You might just be your nuclear family just having dinner, and then you have to deal with those leftovers, and no one will want those leftovers because it was so dry.
Well, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but you have to like remember that I think before people didn't care about just like wasting food. They didn't give two shits because the economy was better, and oh my god, we're not going to go into that. But the point is, people didn't care about wasting food.
I can see the curmudgeon emerging already.
I know. Let's keep it light and like holiday themed. So yeah, I think, and I also this is gonna sound like I'm such a fucking resented little bitch, but resentful. English is not my first language, okay? The food thing was such a huge thing in my family. Like, not even when I say my family, I don't even mean like my mom and my dad and my sister. I mean like the larger family. Like we used to go to like our grandparents' house, and my mom has 7 siblings, so it was a huge family. And also in South America, you have this weird culture like families like visit each other or whatever the fuck. And so everything, like you said, it has to be a production because it has to mean something. You have to show off to the world, look, we are great. We're a fantastic family. We are together, well dressed, well fed, blah, 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 blah. And it's just fucked up. Like, bitch, who has the time for that? If Brenda wants to come to my house and say, well, this turkey's dry, well, fuck off, Brenda. Go eat somewhere else. Let's see where you're going to find an open shit on, like, Christmas.
Yeah, get lost, Steve.
Yeah, Jack.
But do you ever think that sometimes people are scared of violating these traditions because they're worried to be ostracized in some way.
100%. I think that's a huge part of it, and it's stupid. But then again, that's very personal. Like, I say it's stupid, but I also respect it if it's important to some people, because like, us staying at home might, for some people, might be like sad. I always get that every time that I'm like, oh no, we're just staying at home. People are like, oh. And it's like, it's not sad. I am with the person I love. We are eating and fucking and watching TV. Like, that's great. And there is not a mewling child in the background yet. So that's great. And there is a stage for everything. I don't know why people rush things. Like, we just got married. Why do we want this, like, gigantic crowd around us when we're enjoying the first few months of our life as, unholy married gays?
Indeed. It just seems that we have plenty of time to do all of those things in the future.
Correct.
We can have the conga of children and the
Oh my God,
litany of relatives.
I will never have conga with my children. Like, if I see someone doing the conga line in my house, I'll be like, get out.
I will burn this tradition to the ground.
I will throw the turkey at them. Like, I don't care if it's not the carcass. It could be the whole fleshed turkey. I will throw it at them. I fucking hate when people do that. And it's always like that crazy alcoholic aunt that,
Yeah. Or the stereotype of the pervy uncle.
The pervy uncle. I never had a pervy uncle. Thank God.
Same.
I had very, 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 when my mom hears this, she'll like get super angry, but I had very alcoholic family members. So it wasn't as much as like you were worried that they were going to touch you. It was more like, oh God.
Yeah, I really hope I don't have to put them to bed.
Yeah, no, literally. And they used to be my job because I was the biggest of the children. And I mean that in terms of height and body size.
Who's my little heifer?
I was a chubster. I mean, I still am, but I was like disproportional. Not that bad, but I don't feel bad about it though. Like, I enjoyed my chubster years. I ate like a depressed widower.
Yeah, and your grandma was feeding you
fried meat. She would just feed me fried meat. Like, who can say no? Okay, this, going back to the theme of traditions, this is another thing. Like, there are certain things, even within family members, that they're traditional, but they don't follow any like major thing. Like, for example, that you just bring it up because I'm always mentioning how grandma was always feeding me fried meat. That was her thing with me. Because she's sexist, and I love her, but she prefers men to, and not that she's bisexual, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
like she just seems to have a preference for male family members in terms of how much she invests.
100%. Like, she would tell my mum to go do things for me, even though my mum has never been a housewife.
She is not a traditional.
No, not at all. Which is like, this is why I found it weird whenever like Christmas came, because she would turn into a traditional one and you'd be like, who's this bitch? You just open the door of your bedroom and she's there like, Merry Christmas, just hanging things in the house, and you're like, who's this bitch?
Well, think about it though. Why do you think at Christmas she morphs from what she normally is into this paragon of domestication?
Because she's crazy. She cuckoo in the cuckoo. No, I don't know, but yeah, I know what you're getting at. It's the social pressure of this is what happens during this month. That being said, though, that whole like super like hyper family gathering has died out. No one does that anymore. Everyone is on their own with their children in their houses because we're all grown up and all that shit. And she's still like that. Like, she's creepy.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people still have those gargantuan family events with, more guests than you have dining table seats.
Probably.
But it makes me think, though, how it's kind of like a double-edged sword in, traditions in a sense, because you have it gives you a feeling of belonging, fitting in, you know how to behave, yet if that's not for you, it can also be a bit oppressive.
Yes, because people will. Yes, because people will, like you said, ostracize you, if you don't follow that, because it's viewed as your turn. Like they associate the tradition with the family. So if you turn your back on the tradition, you're turning your back on the family. And sometimes you just don't give a shit about Christmas presents. And oh my god, this is a personal thing, but I fucking hate Christmas cards. They are the stupidest thing in the world. Like, people who live next to each other give each other like, what is that?
I think it's almost a bit like a Pokemon-esque sort of gotta catch them all thing. In that, you know, I've got cards from the vicar's daughter, I've got cards from all my family members, all my friends, and it can sometimes feel a little bit like that's the only way they feel remembered or that they were being thought of.
I genuinely think that it's just an excuse so you can start talking shit about these people. Like, so it doesn't sound weird that you just randomly, like, we're talking about, like, oh, yeah, this pudding is nice. By the way, this bitch is a cunt. Like, no. Like, that you could just say, oh, by the way, I got a Christmas card from so-and-so. She's a cunt. So the segue is just more natural.
Yeah, I can picture that.
It's literally what they are for.
But, I was going to say...
I didn't interrupt you. We were just, like, digressing a bit.
I'm kind of drawing out my words slightly because I forgot what I was going to say halfway through saying it, but I've now remembered.
Okay.
And therefore...
I'm excited.
I feel like it would be much more personal if people just sent letters to each other on Christmas, particularly, like, to people that you don't necessarily talk to that often.
With a lock of their hair.
Well, no, you just made it weird.
And if you put this to your nose, you will smell how I smelled that day when I made you that letter.
Yeah, but my point being is, like, if you're going to go through the effort of sending a Christmas card in the post, and you bought that Christmas card, and the envelope, and the stamp, like, say something more than Merry Christmas.
I know, it's weird. Especially now that we have, like, you know, Messenger and WhatsApp and Skype and all that crap. Like, if it's just to say Merry Christmas, like, girl, just send me a message.
Yeah, like, I feel like in some ways that's actually more personable, at least for our millennial generation.
Oh, you know what I hate the most? It's when the family member who's sending this to you, like the one that's actually related to you, it's a woman, and they sign it as like love from me and my husband, and you're like, I've talked to your husband like once in my life.
I'm not sure your husband knows my name.
Literally. Oh god, it's so weird. Maybe we're just curmudgeons though.
Yeah, but I feel like it's just indicative of how in Christmas, even though it's like fueled by consumerism, it's very much about the collective rather than the individual, where for the rest of the year it feels like our lives are very individual centered.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain that one to me again.
Like how at Christmas you kind of consider people by their family unit rather than as an individual. Like, you'll send Christmas cards from one family to another family. You wouldn't be sending... I mean, you might be sending individual cards, but they would be from, you know...
Household to household.
Plus this, and this.
Right, okay. No, I get it. I just think... I don't know. It's just... I've never liked that whole well, I love holes, but but I've never liked the whole you make something special in a birthday, on Valentine's and Christmas. It just feels like if I feel like you're forced to do this for me because of the date, then I question it as, do you actually feel these things, or are you just doing it because it's what you have to do? It's what society tells you have to do.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it? And this is the weirdest thing about traditions. It's the fact that when people break them, it's considered weird. And I'm like, okay, some traditions, when you break them, is weird. Some of them. But maybe, like, for example, if you just say something nice to somebody, it's not their birthday, it's not Christmas, it's not any particular date. You just said something nice to someone because you want to make them feel nice. People are like, oh, that's weird. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. And in some ways, like, are we being trapped with dogma? Or are we just, you know, doing what feels like the best thing to do?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it rests on, you know, what the neighbor is doing. That mentality.
The keeping up with the Joneses sort of thing.
Keeping up with the Joneses. Yeah, and it's just so strange because you end up not living. You end up not enjoying what you should enjoy, you end up being like, okay, I've done my part.
Yeah, it's like you're living through the prism of somebody else's
Assumed,
opinions.
assumed expectation, because most of the time it's not even their opinions. Like, these people never interact on a deeper level than hi. But it's the whole like, you it's what they think that the others will think if they think if it's like a weird just zigzag of thought that just never happens. Actually, it's paranoia preying on that feeling that you want to belong, but you can belong in a different way.
And that kind of more baser feeling of envy and avarice. And that kind of...
See, that's a problem with me. I am so self-centered and narcissistic that the concept of envy for me is like, but why would I want to be someone else?
I'm not saying you want to be someone else, but you might covet their things or their positions.
Oh, I don't know.
I know I certainly have.
The only person I think I've ever envied is Anna Faris, and she's divorced.
Divorced?
Divorced. How do you say it?
Divorced, darling.
Divorced. I don't know. Like, your words are weird. But anyway, she's no longer with Chris Pratt. She's no longer with us.
Why are you making it sound like she died?
No, Anna Faris didn't die. Yeah. Poor Anna Faris. I mean, not in a
Chris
sexist
Pratt?
way. No, because I think, well, from what I heard from them, let's see if I know them, from the whole, like, media thing, it's like, it was a mutual thing, but he didn't, like it, because it was probably her idea or whatever. And, it must have been hard to make it, like, if something is not working and you're the one making the decision, that is hard. It's not only hard on the dumped. So yeah, I didn't say poor Anna Faris in the sense of like, haha, Chris Pratt let you. No, because I think, this is me being gossipy and tabloidy, that she's the one that said, listen, we need to think about the child and give him the best. And he didn't like that. And, she obviously had to deal with thinking about that and also executing it. That's hard. Poor her. Yeah. Strong, very, very tiny woman.
And that, I think, concludes the hot gossip section of the show.
Fine, sorry. So, you were saying something about how traditions are like a link to nostalgia or something like that?
Well, yeah, because traditions are things that happened in the past, and you kind of romanticize that past where we think about a kind of a rose-tinted version of it that may or may not have happened.
Yeah.
Like, with your family, you try and do the whole family all around the table, all the decorations are hung up, because you have this kind of...
Half of them drunk.
You airbrush that out of your memory.
I don't.
And you just think about a past where you did that, and you kind of associate this ritual brought me happiness, and so I'm going to try and do it again to kind of, if not replicate it, at least evoke it.
I see. Okay, I get you. So basically what you're saying is that the nostalgic element of it is because you want to feel that feeling of purity and peace and bliss, like, again. And you think that the tradition is basically the equation that you have to follow to recreate it. Yeah,
and I think it's because just the way the human mind works is that we tend to just airbrush out the ugly parts of our lives over time, and our memories, at least the ones which aren't totally terrible, we try to just keep the nicer aspects of it.
Yeah, I always forget when you fart on me.
Isn't that nice?
Well, no, it isn't. But I airbrush it out of my mind.
No, but perfect example. You'll remember it and be like, oh, that's cute. But you'll airbrush the smell or the embarrassment it caused you.
To be fair, you fart weird. Like, if it made a sound, it doesn't smell. If it doesn't make a sound, I need to leave the country.
You heard it here first. A Johnny exclusive.
Okay, no, but I get what you mean. Like, you make certain things that other people would think, ew, that's gross, as, oh, that was cute. Like, she's just happy. She's not drunk and on the floor vomiting her lungs out. She's just happy. It's family.
Yeah. And I think it's way easier to airbrush out physical discomfort than it is emotional.
Yes.
I think just humans are really bad at remembering pain.
Well, yeah, I think it's because you heal from the physical pain, whether you like it or not. Like the physical pain will go away. Your body will just heal. Well, obviously, not all physical pain. There are some things that just don't heal. But anyway, like if you cut yourself or you sprain your ankle or you bruise yourself, like it'll go away. But emotional pain I think it does require an intervention. I mean, there are some people who probably just get over it on their own and they just, they do it in a healthy, positive way. But I think a lot of the time, people underestimate how much emotional pain is, or emotional damage is something that you should invest time and effort into healing.
Yeah. And I do agree, although we probably don't have time to fully explore that as a topic.
We don't. We should leave it for another thing. Like emotional damage. Like what are you mad at? So we will leave this here. This was a fun first episode.
Yeah, I'm glad we did it.
I am glad too. We probably did a lot of things wrong, but hey, if you don't try it, then how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? I mean, how are you gonna be better at it?
Yeah, you'll hear from my lawyers. But yeah, it's very much like you gotta speculate to accumulate.
Exactly.
Like, put yourself out there.
Plus, this was nice because we did it in a room. We are literally naked, and
we are not naked.
We are literally naked. My balls are out. Well, my balls probably out because all of the what's it called? All of the shorts that I love to hang around are just split in the middle. Anyway, we are most likely going to be able to do this more often because this was very nice.
Yeah. It could be our Saturday morning tradition.
Saturday morning tradition. That's a good idea.
Hey.
That's a good. Very on the nose. Very on the nose. I love it.
But maybe it'd be nice to hear from anyone listening what they feel about traditions.
Oh yeah, wherever we put this on, if you can just leave a comment, ask questions. Ask questions because this is what I would love to get to a point where I do a Q&A episode. I love that, and I love weird questions. Please be weird.
Yeah, and I definitely would like to hear about strange little traditions, like maybe you have in like your family or friend group, or just things that
fun traditions, unexpected ones,
or even traditions that you've rejected and like the reasons for that.
That's a good one. Well, I think we will leave it here. This was episode 1, and peace out.
Okay, peace out. Toodles.